The hidden rules of money nobody teaches you. Two people can earn the same amount of money. They can have the same opportunities. They can even make many of the same decisions. And yet, one can end up wealthy while the other struggles for their entire life. Why? Because money is not just a math problem. It is a behavior problem. The biggest financial decisions you make are not determined only by your income. They are determined by your mindset, your emotions, your habits, and the invisible beliefs you carry about money. Because the truth is, some of the smartest people in the world lose money, and some ordinary people quietly build fortunes. A janitor with no fancy education became a millionaire. A Harvard-educated Wall Street executive lost everything. One had every advantage, the other seemed to have none. But the difference was not intelligence, it was psychology. This is the hidden world behind money, and today we are breaking down 5 lessons from Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money, that reveal why some people build lasting wealth while others spend their entire lives chasing it. This is Deep Cut Life, where we uncover the hidden psychology behind the decisions that shape your life. Let's begin. The first lesson is one of the hardest truths about money. Luck and risk are always part of the story. We love simple explanations. When someone becomes successful, we want to believe there is one obvious reason. They worked harder, they were smarter, they made better decisions. And sometimes that is true. But reality is much more complicated. Success is a combination of effort, decisions, timing, opportunities, and circumstances we cannot always see. Look at Bill Gates. Most people know him as one of the greatest entrepreneurs in history. He was incredibly intelligent, he was extremely focused, but there was another factor that changed everything. In 1968, Bill Gates attended Lakeside School. At the time, computers were extremely rare. Most teenagers in the world had never touched one, but Lakeside happened to have access to a computer. That single opportunity gave Gates thousands of hours of experience with technology before almost anyone else his age. A small difference in circumstances created a massive difference in results. But now think about another person, Kent Evans. He was one of Bill Gates' closest childhood friends. He was intelligent, ambitious, and he had big dreams. But before he had the opportunity to build his future, he died in a tragic accident. Same generation, similar potential, completely different outcome. This does not mean success is only luck. Hard work matters, discipline matters, learning matters. But it means we should stay humble. Because when life goes well, we often underestimate the role of luck. And when life goes badly, we often underestimate the role of circumstances. Morgan Housel explains that luck and risk are connected. A person can make smart decisions and still fail. A person can make poor decisions and still succeed. That is why the goal is not to create a life where nothing goes wrong. That is impossible. The goal is to build a life strong enough to survive when things do. Save money. Avoid unnecessary risks. Protect yourself from one bad event destroying years of progress. Because the biggest advantage in life is not always being right. It is staying in the game long enough for opportunities to appear. The second lesson is that getting rich and staying rich are two completely different games. Most people spend their lives asking one question: how do I become wealthy? They search for the fastest path, the next big investment, the next business idea, the next opportunity that could completely change their life. But very few people ask the more important question: how do I stay wealthy? Because building wealth and protecting wealth require completely different skills. Getting rich often requires confidence, taking calculated risks, trying new things. But staying rich requires something else: patience, discipline, and the ability to avoid destroying what you already built. Look at Mike Tyson. At his peak, he earned hundreds of millions of dollars. He was one of the most famous athletes in the world. But despite earning incredible amounts of money, Financial problems and poor decisions caused him to lose much of his fortune. The problem was not his ability to make money. The problem was protecting it. This happens to many successful people. They win, they become confident, then they start believing they cannot lose. But everyone can lose, even the smartest people, even the richest people, even the most successful investors. Now compare that mindset with Warren Buffett. Buffett became one of the wealthiest people in history, not because he constantly chased excitement. He understood something simple. Survival comes before growth. A person who makes a fortune but loses everything later did not truly win. A person who grows wealth slowly and protects it over decades creates something much stronger. The goal is not just to make money. The goal is to keep enough control over your life that money continues working for you. The third lesson is one of the biggest secrets of wealth. Real wealth is what you don't see. Imagine someone drives past you in a new brand Ferrari. What is your first thought? They must be rich. But what do you actually know? You know they own an expensive car. That's it. You don't know their savings, you don't know their investments, you don't know their debt. A luxury item shows spending. It does not prove wealth. This is the illusion that traps millions of people. They confuse looking wealthy with being wealthy. But true wealth is usually invisible. It's the money sitting in your investment account, the savings you built when nobody was watching, the choices you made when nobody was paying attention. That is why Ronald Read became wealthy. He wasn't focused on looking rich, he was focused on becoming financially free. There's a major difference between income and wealth. Income is what you earn, wealth is what you keep. Someone making $200,000 a year can still be financially trapped by expensive habits. Someone making $60,000 a year can quietly build financial independence. The question is not only how much money do you make? The bigger question is how much of your money is creating freedom for your future. The people who look the richest aren't always the richest, because the wealthiest people often don't need to prove anything. They're not buying attention, they're buying choices. The fourth lesson is the danger of never having enough. Let me ask you a question. How much money would finally make you feel successful? Would it be $100,000? $1 million? $10 million? Now imagine you reach that number. Would you stop? Or would you immediately create a new goal? This is one of the biggest traps in human psychology. The finish line keeps moving. Someone earning $50,000 thinks, if I just earned $100,000, my life would change. Someone earning $100,000 thinks, if I just earned $250,000, then I would finally relax. Someone earning millions can still feel behind because comparison has no finish line. Morgan Housel explains that one of the hardest financial skills is knowing when to stop moving the goalposts. The world constantly tells us we need more, a bigger house, a better car, a more expensive lifestyle. Social media makes this even worse. Every day, we see people showing perfect lives, luxury vacations, designer clothes, private jets. But we rarely see the hidden costs behind those images, the debt, the pressure, the stress. Many people are not buying things because they need them. They are buying things because they want to feel important. They want approval. They want people to see them differently. But approval is never enough. There will always be someone richer, someone more successful, someone with more. The richest person is not the person who has everything. It is the person who knows what is enough. The final lesson is the most important one. The true purpose of money is not buying things. It is buying control over your time. Think about the greatest luxury you could have. Not a bigger house, not a faster car, not an expensive watch. The ability to decide how you spend your limited time. The ability to say, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to work on something meaningful. I can leave a situation that makes me unhappy. I do not have to make every decision out of fear. That is real wealth. Morgan Housel describes this as the highest dividend money can pay, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want. Because money is not valuable because of what it can buy. Money is valuable because of what it can free you from. Even a small amount of savings creates power. An emergency fund gives you options. Investments give you flexibility. Every dollar saved is not just money sitting there. It's a piece of your future freedom. You are not just saving money. You are buying back control over your life. So what is the psychology of money really teaching us? It teaches us that wealth is not created only by earning more. It is created by thinking differently. Remember these 5 lessons. Luck and risk are always part of the story. Stay humble. Getting rich and staying rich require different skills. Protect what you build. Real wealth is invisible. It exists in your habits, not your possessions. Define what enough means before the world defines it for you. And the greatest purpose of money is freedom. Because in the end, the richest person is not the one with the biggest house, not the person with the most expensive car, not the person everyone admires. The richest person is the one who owns their time, the one who can choose, the one who can breathe, the one who can live life on their own terms. Because the ultimate goal of wealth is not to have more, it is to need less. Your thoughts create your decisions create your habits, and your habits create your future. So the next time you think about money, ask yourself, am I chasing more or am I building a life that actually feels rich?